something well thought and something that is in the Constitution. However, it's attracting its own share of controversy, right? And I like to talk about that controversy because you might think it's trivial, but it concerns a lot of Kenyans. This is the fact that they say that the North has the statue of the president, of the founding president. And it's a huge concern. It looks trivial, but the fact that Kenyans are concerned about this again. It's open. It's open.
That matter is as trivial as you rightly say. You know, the Constitution talks about our currencies not having the portrait of a human being.
Yes.
The portrait of anybody. Now, when you take a photo of KICC, and I want to tell you, Ken, if you want to talk about buildings that define Kenya, I mean, wake up somewhere in Washington, wake up somewhere in London, and you see a photo of KICC. And immediately you will appreciate you are talking about Nairobi and Kenya in general. When you go to KICC, there is the statue of the founding father. And it is on the face of KICC there. I mean, depending on the angle you take the photo and how you want to depict KICC.
It has to be there.
You will capture it. You will capture it. The question then for lawyers is simple. Did the Constitution prohibit the portrait of the president or a pictorial depiction captured together with KICC of a statue? What is the difference between a picture of a statue and a portrait of the president? And my thinking in true sense and strict legal interpretation is that if you look at the statue appearing on our notes, they are not as refined as Jomo Kenyatta who was. I mean, that is, you know, a sculptor. It is a statue. If you are to take a photo,
yes.
So the first point would be, do we recognize that KICC is a building that iconic sufficiently to be on our notes? And I'm telling you, there is none comparable to it. In terms of design, you know, the image it has of the country and other things. Assume you are taking a photo of Tomboya Street. Would you avoid that statue of Tomboya across there? And by the way, if you look at that statue,
yes,
does it look
like
Tomboya strictly? I mean,
but you can avoid it, Mheshimiwa. Does it concern you that Kenyans are really failing this? They're saying this should have been put off completely.
You know, sometimes we have this confusion about talking about Kenyans. If you look at the characters who have gone to court, somebody has over 600 cases. And then you are talking about Kenyans. There are people who are always looking for an excuse.
But it's just a lawyer to go to court, right?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
It's the primary mover of the matter. This is somebody every day, every morning he wakes up, he is looking for an opportunity to go to court because it's a business venture like any other. So when you talk about Kenyans, there is a common denominator in all these cases you have seen. One person.
Okay.
So you can't really say that.
You're referring to Okia Mtata.
Yeah. And I'm saying the way Mheshimiwa has said.
Yes.
KICC is a building that if you talk about this country, you must talk about KICC. And the fact that the sculpture of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta is there does not make KICC less important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dan, you're saying you're referring to Okia Mtata, but someone in the capacity of minority leader has spoken about this. It's not Okia Mtata. Simon Mbugua has gone to court, right? So when you refer to someone, a serial litigant, a public interest litigant, you have also to consider that there are other people with independent minds who have stated something about it.
He has made a hasty retreat. But I think after wide consultation, he has made a very hasty retreat.
After better understanding of the confines of the Constitution on the matter.
Okay. Yeah. What do you have to say, Mheshimiwa?
Let me say something.
I call him Mheshimiwa. It's okay.
It's good to move me in that direction.
Yes.
Let me say something.
Yes.
Two important things. The first one is this. I know that James Orengo, senior counsel, has spoken on the issue, and he seems to be suggesting that in his reading of the Constitution, the portrait, the statue of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, in the context of that currency, would offend the provisions of Article 231 of the Constitution. And you know, with tremendous respect, he can be wrong. And I think on this particular occasion, James Orengo is wrong. Because the reading of that article, even if it is given the widest, farthest interpretation, cannot depict that statue appearing in that currency as a portrait. So that would be splitting hairs. It would be a non-starter in the constitutional courts. But most importantly, and this is what I would say from a legal engineering perspective, things may not always seem or may not always be what they seem. That is one aspect that the drivers against the currency or its introduction are using for purposes of at least delaying the time within which it comes into force. Why? Keep litigation in the courts about this question, and probably somebody would be saying, for as long as this constitutional matter is pending, why don't we stay the implementation of bringing in this currency as we debate this question? What does that do? 1 week will allow a number of people to do a number of things as far as bringing whatever money they have into the system is concerned. So I read mischief in that particular move, and I'm thinking someone is trying to find a way of delaying the implementation of that policy.
Ken, yes. Okia Omtata is not a lawyer. Who is drafting for him all these pleadings, which are always ready in time? To be filed.
There must be lawyers.
And that gives you confirmation to what counsel is saying.
But this
that
is
whenever you see Okia Omtata, there is somebody whose agenda is pushing. Because he does no other work. Where does he get the money from to file all these things?
He's fundraising online. He's fundraising online.
I think Okia Omtata has been known to bring very progressive litigation in courts. And let this matter be prosecuted to the end. Not necessarily because of the person of Okia Omtata, but personally because I think it gives a leeway to people to actually, have an opportunity to see the fullest extent to which our courts can make determinations. And I'm saying this because, Ken, it's like every decision that is made in this country must be challenged. And at some point, we must also ask ourselves this question. Is this the way we are going to govern the country? We can't have everything, you do this, going to court.
But we opened that space with the constitution that we have.
We did, yes, but at some point, we are trying to, usurp the powers of other, state institutions, and we are all taking them to the judiciary. But let me also come to the question about the notes. I mean, what were we trying to run away by saying we should not have the portrait of individuals? Jomo Kenyatta is the founding father of this republic. There will be no other founding president, not unless we decimate this country and create another one. So my take is that if you look at the American dollar, it has got the face of George Washington. So even we want to go ahead and say that if you have to have Kenyatta International Convention Center remove the monument in the photo, then the name KICC still has Kenyatta. So it is futile. And I'm very surprised, by the way. There are some people I did not expect to go to court, like Simon Bogwa, who is a lawyer. Who is a legislator, sorry. No, who is a legislator. That's what I wanted to be. He's a legislator. Because then, is it a question of keeping your name in the public domain, for example, so that people can know that then you are, active on certain matters? Because why am I saying so? Why am I saying so? Just like Wakili has said there. This is a very good, leeway for corruption, money that is being laundered. You delay the process so that then you are able to
have more time to
exactly. But then I still want to say, even as that is, maybe that's the case, they should also remember there is a way in which even if you change money into other currencies, there is a way, these monies can actually, the serialization can be changed by those many other countries.
Ken, what I wanted to say, and Council will confirm. If you go to the Environment and Land Division of the High Court today, you will not get a date to resolve a land dispute other than after 3 years from today. When you go to the Anti-Corruption Court, and we are saying we now want to see the judiciary making determinations, they have moved now from courts to the ceremonial halls. And mere bail applications are taking eternity. And yet, you have a matter as simple as determining whether you have the portrait of Kenyatta, the founding father, on a note, being sent to the Chief Justice to constitute a bench. I think there is a way in which our judiciary needs also to make determinations in terms of how they want to use their time to assist the larger society.
The reason why I brought this up is partly because of this, what the legislators had to say. Let's listen.
Katiba ya Kenya imesema hakuna kuweka sura ya binadamu, awe ni sura ya binadamu mwana Kenya, ama kutoka nchi fulani, ama sura ya sanamu ya binadamu iziweke kwa fedha, lakini zile fedha ambazo zilitolewa rasmi jana na rais zina picha ya hayati mzee Jomo Kenyatta.
Those notes must be recalled and done afresh. If they want to put KICC, and it is iconic, we have no problem with it. But look for the side where there is no face of a human being.
The interesting thing is apart from the statue of the founding president, they've already started poking into even the 200, I think that is the 200 shilling note, where there's the face is not so clear, but they already said this is the face of C.S. Matiang'i, you know? So you see the concerns of Kenyans. We don't want to see a face. Don't put the face. But now that brings me to the question, do you think this has been politicized? He said trivialized. Is it politicized?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of politics into it. There is no way you can talk about KICC without the statue of Mr. Jomo Kenyatta. Even the way the senator is saying, his name is there. I think it's a triviality of the highest order, and it's a bit embarrassing that leaders of this caliber would be able to take that to a public rally and really confuse the people when they know much better. And I can see myself, the way the lawyer here is arguing, this thing of Mutata and others is a red herring. It's a strategy to delay the thing. And there are either two aspects of it. The people behind it have money that they don't know what to do with, and they would like more time. All, put it on another front, the politicians who have been driving a narrative that their opponents are hiding money, they would not want this thing to be resolved so that they can continue having on that narrative. It could be both. You know, it could be both.
No, or the politicians who have the money who are now calling for it to be pushed forward, want to benefit from the source of that money.
Yeah, and we are saying even those who have made an about turn today, probably they have just made an about turn after detailing Mtata to do it on their behalf. You would never know.
I think there's an issue about us politicians as people who like to politic. Why am I saying so? James Orengo, who is my leader of minority, and I really have a lot of respect for him. I think I love the way he debates. But sometimes back he came up with a statement that the deputy president can be impeached. And when you look at the way he followed that, it went nowhere. I think it was a discussion for that weekend.
Impeaching of the deputy president?
That time, you remember?
Yes. Impeaching.
Where did it go?
He's a proponent of that.
Where did he prosecute it? No, he didn't. He just argued it in the court of public opinion. Today, this was a rally, surely. It must have been over the weekend. And you can see now, because John Baddi followed cue from his equal leader of minority, he has since retracted. So sometimes it's a question of, just like the way I'm suspecting, Simon Bugwa wants to remain relevant now that he's in Arusha, and he must be remembered in Nairobi. Yes. The same case also for these gentlemen.
Yes. My two brothers here spoke a day after the new currencies were...
That's on Sunday.
On Sunday.
Yes.
When I spoke with Honorable Mbadi today, he told me he was speaking from what he was told. He had not seen the money himself. And that, I believe, is why he went to the media to say, I was wrong, it was a portrait. I was told it was a portrait. This is a statue.
Okay.
And I believe that is the same position with James Orengo. And that I think, Maura, you're not being fair to the minority leader in the Senate. Because I remember, even the idea of impeachment of the deputy president, the gentleman was taken out of context. Orengo was talking about how you can impeach and other things you can use to deal with a misbehaving president or deputy president. I never heard James Orengo saying, we plan to impeach the deputy president.
Really?
I remember he clarified it. I mean, it is there.
Really?
But it's even easier.
From what he's saying. Yes.
If it is true that the Honorable Badi and Orengo are speaking
without
on such a
proper information and their
on
leaders,
something they have heard in the streets,
it's very unfortunate.
Then you really get worried about this country.
I know.
Because these are leaders. These are leaders who are very senior.
Yes.
They are leaders who are holding serious positions.
Yes.
One is leader of minority in the Senate. The other one is leader of the minority in the National Assembly. And they are speaking from street talk. Then you wonder, all these other things they say, are they picking
what is
from
the value in
streets?
that?
Yeah, do they have value?
Let me hear from Wakili, then I come back.
I think, Ken, the the leader of minority in the Senate, my senior, and I respect him tremendously.
Yes.
He should thank the Honorable
Kaluma.
Kaluma for expressing on national television a benefit of the doubt about those statements. And I think, I said earlier, that James Orengo in his greatness does sometimes fall into probably what I could call misadvice, probably coming from himself or other people. And as a person, for instance, in the legal profession, we look up to, we wouldn't expect him to make those kind of statements like that without question. So what he should do right now, which is the honorable thing to do, is to come out and say,
retract
on
that
this
statement.
one,
Yes.
I was wrong. And therefore, I retract this statement. If you understood it to mean this, no, it meant this.
Have you touched the new money?
No, I haven't.
Because I see all of you talking as if
We have seen it.
you've
We
not
have
touched the money. You are seeing it on screen. I mean, these are questions.
Like everybody else.
These are questions you ask of people in government like us.
No way.
You see, the distinction between a portrait of a human person,
Yes.
which you hear James Orengo talking about, and a photo of a statue, is something which started coming yesterday when we went to the media to clarify. And by the way, if you looked at the photo, I think the person who made the statue of, the founding father did better than the others have seen. So it was possible for people to tell Orengo, but that is Kenyatta. Until you go back and you look at the actual thing, and you realize this is the statue in front of KICC, and a photo taken would capture it anyway. I mean, you can make, the mistake of interpretation in the manner they did.
Okay.
And remember also the moment where they were talking.
All right.
Some talk.
I need to take a break.
Something very
serious
important.
talk.
I need to take a
Something
break.
very important,
Yes.
which Senator Mwaura mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Jomo Kenyatta is the founding president of this country. There are those who don't like him, and there are those who might like him, okay? In equal measure.
Okay.
Now, what you cannot change is the fact that
That
he
fact.
was the
Founding.
founding president.
All right.
Now, this is what you do. As to whether he was a great founding president, leave that history to judge.
Okay.